bit. Come back.
All right. Well, we're live, everybody, but we're going to give a little time because somehow, with Ryan not being here, I somehow deleted the countdown. So we're going to give a little bit, see if anybody signs on.
Yeah, I just got notification you're live, so we're good.
Yeah, so we're good. It's just a matter of, and we might not have any. Oh, there it goes. Okay.
They'll jump on. James promoted it pretty good, and I did too.
I just want to do some sharing here to some groups, see if we can get some people on.
Sorry, Mark, we're running just a couple of seconds behind.
All right, we'll see what happens. All right, everybody. We're live, everybody. This is Thursday Night Barbecue Chat. As I just mentioned, it was a horrible introduction, but I messed up the countdown thing. Somehow I lost it. But I do got my shed hat on, and we have a guest host tonight. Miss Michelle Le Guin is back in house to be co-host. And then we got Matt Sayer already saying, how's everyone doing? We're doing really good so far. Kind of miss having that countdown thing. I'm thinking there's some music that's
it's my favorite part, actually.
It's because Ryan and I aren't talking normally. So, ooh, it's hot. It's hot in the apartment. I can't wear the shed hat today because it's a little hot in the apartment today. Woo! I don't know why.
I went outside. Hot. Cold front came through here today. I'm good.
Are you really? No, it's cold outside. It's really hot in the apartment. I should have opened the door, but I didn't, and that's what you get. So, Michelle, how you been? How things baking down there?
It's doing good. And, obviously all the pollen's about finally gone, so we can all breathe better.
Excellent.
The trees are green. That means the smell of honeysuckle in Memphis in May is about to be in full swing. So we're getting busy with that and ready to rock and roll in the next couple weeks.
Well, Michelle was taxed when she's the guest host. She is in charge of finding the guests that she wants to have on an interview. And as always, she can't just find one. We have actually two. So we'll be kind of splitting up between two different guests today. We're going to have Mark Conway and then James Cruse. So we're going to have two, sometimes at the same time, but probably just one at a time. And then we'll merge in the two. And then we'll have just one again. So yep. Kind of an interesting, exciting show we got.
Especially when they know each other. It's kind of helpful.
It's kind of helpful. So we got on here. I'll let you introduce Mark, but because you can go through all his little background things and this and that, and then we'll bring him on.
All right. So everybody, I wanted to bring on Mark Conway. For those that are in World Food Land, he is the MC for the World Food Championships. You would recognize him by his awesome fancy suits and nice shoes. Great personality, great MC, but also he's got this great barbecue contest coming up in, I believe, South Carolina. Forgive me if I'm wrong. June 15th that he's going to be talking about. It's the first year for it, and he's very excited. And he's just an all-around great guy. So I'd like to bring Mark on and tell us more about what he's got going on and all his good things.
There he is. Mark, what's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I actually have dare I say it, I have microphone envy tonight because that's what I want to get here at the old It's All About the Barbecue studio. Is a nice.
So I need to message the missus to get you that for Christmas.
Oh, yes. Yeah. You want this one.
The big retractable arm. They actually just just a microphone instead of using the earbud, just to have a kind of look like a little Larry King or something like that interview.
You never know if this thing's actually on or if I'm just using the computer mic, but it looks good.
Yeah, that could be true too.
Hey,
that could be true too. As long as people, I can hear you. And then Matt was saying great choices tonight for guests. So Michelle, again, you did well on the guest. So
Matt knows both sides of the world. He knows world food and barbecue, so he knows both names.
Yes, he does.
So give us a little bit about yourself, Mark. How did you get involved in the world food? What do you do? Let it get everybody to know you, and sure. We'll go from there.
Yeah, I was a chef for years in restaurants and food trucks, and as fate would have it, I found out I was going to have twins, and it was one of those things where I can continue on this awesome chef track I'm on. I was on magazines, I was on TV shows, and it was going great. or I could be the dad I want to be to them. And really, it was kind of an easy choice. So I had years in food, I had years in front of the camera, and it was, what do I want to do with that? And so food media was kind of the natural fit. And I was doing a live streaming show called Kitchen Ambush, where I would go in and I would ambush a local chef with a local made ingredient and force them to cook live over the internet. And that we would probably stream to 20 different Facebook pages back in the day doing that. It was hysterical. I mean, you never knew what was going to happen because it was live. There was no edits. Whatever they said, they said. And sometimes stuff got burned and sometimes stuff tasted terrible. But I was coming out of that one day and scrolling along social media and saw something called the World Food Championships. So I immediately messaged them and said, hey, just let me come, give me full access. We'll live stream World Food Championships across all the Facebook pages. Just let us come, give me access. And they did. And lo and behold, that was my first year. And that was back in Orange Beach, Alabama. And from there, it just kind of grew. And I kind of hung around and stayed around and started moving into MC and then hosting. And then I write competitions for them. I just wrote the final table competition for everybody. And it just kind of evolved from there, between food sport becoming really a mainstream an opportunity that's right there with professional sports. I think it's how a lot of people look at it.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a crazy ride from there.
Do you think do you think a lot of that has to do with like the food channels and the just the explosion on the internet? I mean, obviously, this is the only show anybody's watching tonight, but I mean, there's tons of food shows out there and this, that. Do you think that has helped build that food competition? Because I know like shows like Barbecue Pitmaster kind of exploded how people were able to see into the world of competition barbecue that they may not have been able to do.
Yeah, I think what happened is you saw Food Network came along and it started with a lot of your so-and-so's cooking in their kitchen. And there was just more of like a 30-minute session of a cooking demo. And then those first competitions came up. Chopped was really the one that kind of set the benchmark. And then you had Cutthroat Kitchen and things like that. So it really gave way to people's interest in competitive cooking. But that was the only thing they'd ever really seen. Barbecue's been happening forever. Things like World Chili's been happening forever. There's been competitive cooking as long as we have done anything. Think back to your, people in their office park or their church. They're doing their chili cook-offs or their burger cook-offs.
Yeah, Memphis in May, 1978.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a staple that just people didn't know about. Food Network brought it to the forefront. And now, if you look at Food Network, it's probably about 70% competition reality base. And now people are starting to realize, man, it's even better if I can go watch it live.
Right. Yeah. So Michelle, you've been to the world. You do the world food thing. I mean,
yeah.
What is that? And Mark being the MC, what is that arena? I mean, do you have a lot of live people watching the events?
Oh yeah. So Brandon and I, in some sort of capacity, have been there for the last 5 years. Brandon's first year was the last year, Orange Beach in Steak, when that cold front came through. That was so awesome.
Yep.
Never had to cook a steak while holding your tent down before. But that's what we did, and we made through. After we saw that, we wanted Kitchen Arena. We didn't want to be a steak in a parking lot anymore. I mean, and we're barbecue cooks and we're steak cooks as well. But when we saw Kitchen Arena at Orange Beach, at the time was under a tent. But the food stations and the way that the crowd's watching and the intensity, it felt more like that, the culinary food sport you see on Chopped and things like that. You have your 90 minutes to get your dish out, and you have a very small space with very limited people and all that good stuff. And we craved that after that. And so we found our way in. And for example, the only way we figured out to get in there was Taste of America, which is coming up next week with the World Food Championships. And our friends of ours taught us that that's the key to get into Kitchen Arena if you're not doing anything other than barbecue or online contests or whatever, or other contests that have the tickets. And the following year, Brandon got into the seafood category through Taste of America. And then I was in on steak, and I followed right behind him on Taste of America after that. So that's been a great thing. And also the Taste of America thing also helps people with getting in with Taste of Home cookbooks or magazines and stuff like that. Just learning how to write recipes and descriptions I've learned a lot about the food world, whether it be culinary, food, sport, whether it be online or in person, over the last several years, and it's so much bigger than people really think it is.
Yeah, it's astronomically huge. It's only getting bigger. I mean, I've spent the first half of this year going to the big industry shows,
Yep.
you know, your fancy food shows and your Vegas restaurant and bar show. And the one thing I've heard all the way through were companies, people, you know, whether they were big companies, local owned companies, when they find out they can get involved in food sport, and for lack of a better way to put it, do it without going through Food Network, they're getting very excited because they see how big it's getting.
Right.
For example, Mark, can you tell them how many people on average cook at World Food?
You've got about, let's see, you figure it's close to 300 teams. They're from over 30 countries, and we are averaging about 3.5 people a team. So you're talking about 1,000 people cooking over the course of that week.
Wow. That's a lot of
It's
people.
a lot of energy. It's a lot of food sport family. I think a lot of us call ourselves culinary athletes at this point.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of stretching involved. Whether we're learning new things recipe wise or we're stretching because we're going to be on our feet and on our back's going to be hurting later. But it's become like a family reunion, just like big barbecue contests do, Steve. If you go to the American Royal or Memphis and May or the Jack Daniels, if you haven't seen people in a while, it's the same thing. It's like a big family reunion. It's the same thing for World Food competitors as well. I mean, I happened to had the fortunate opportunity to go to Final Table a couple weeks back where Mark was at and watch that for the first time myself, mainly because I want to be there hopefully next year, competing there. And it was enlightening, and I loved having that opportunity. I've not been afforded that before, so that was awesome. But no, it's definitely something people want to be a part of, and there's several ways to get in there. There's the Famous Dave's contest around the country for the barbecue people that want to get in. Those are golden tickets for World Food. Also, I don't know if people know this, but any grand champion, SCA or SCA ancillary, and not a lot of people know this, that gets you in to World Food. I know the barbecue's locked down right now because of the Famous Dave program, but if you win an SCA golden ticket, like a first place, not a pass down, you do get into live fire category at Memphis or at World Food, sorry. And then the ancillary has to match whatever your category was, and unless it's full. So there's other opportunities there for the people that are doing the little cooks around their towns. But if they don't have the time to get to one or get to the contest we're going to talk about with Mark here in just a minute, there's the Taste of America, which is online. You cook the dish at home, you take the picture, you write your description and your recipe, you submit it in, and they announce the winners online. And that itself is less stressful, kind of, because learning how to write a description and a recipe, I didn't think was going to be that hard, but it is. Yeah. Because you have to be able to write it for someone to duplicate it. And
that's true.
I mean, I've been reading them for years, but writing one's a lot different. And I'll be honest, that's one of the biggest takeaways that I've gained as an asset from being a World Food competitor is learning how to describe my dishes and how to write a recipe. I'm still working on the new thing is learning how to present it to the judges at the final panel. And if you make the top 7, but I'll tell you, there's some things that I'm doing in conjunction with World Food and Sam's that are helping me do that and get me more experience in that department. So that's been great.
So Mark, are you, you mentioned food shows. Are you coming to the National Restaurant Show here in Chicago, or are you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll be there. I've hit almost all the big ones so far this year, but NRA, that's the show. You can't, if you're in that food and beverage industry and you're not going to NRA every year, you're really falling behind already. So I'll be there, bringing a couple of my buddies with me there. Mark Henry, the wrestling legend, is going to be with me. Brian Duffy from Food Network, he'll be there. I think Jay Dakota is coming with me. We're just going to kind of storm NRA and see what kind of ruckus we can run up.
Well, if you are, let me know when you're in, and if you guys got free time, come on out to the Burbs, and we'll get dinner or something, or I'll show you the store, and then we'll get dinner or something. That
sounds like a blast.
That'd be kind of fun. So,
all right. So, Mark, tell us about what you got coming up in June.
So, June 14th and 15th in Columbia, South Carolina, right smack in the middle of downtown, there's a $32 million minor league baseball park, and it's home of the Columbia Fireflies. We have very kindly pushed them out of the ballpark for about a week. The minor league baseball and major league baseball had to get involved in this and sign off, putting them on a long road trip. So
nice.
Maybe they're not as happy with us. No, we're just kidding. They're great. They're loving every second of this. We're taking over the entire ballpark. So on the 14th, we're going to have the South Carolina Barbecue Association is going to put on a wings challenge where all of their teams are going to get together and find out who cooks the best wing. And then on Friday is the big shebang. We're going to have 20 plus teams cooking from all over the place. We have a team coming in from Japan. They're coming in for the first time. And they're going to find out who the inaugural Southeastern Barbecue champion is. The winner walks away with a golden ticket to World Foods and $10,000. And the first, I believe it's 5 spots, maybe 7, are actually going to be in the money. But number 1 walks away with 10 grand and the golden ticket. We're going to have a ton of, all of my favorite celebrities are going to be there. But then also at the end of the night, we're going to have an actual country concert by the band Alabama.
Wow.
So this is going to be kind of a spectacle, kind of what I thought for a long time food sport was heading towards. When you have football, you go to a football game, college or pro, you've got food, you've got cheering for whoever your favorite person is, and then you've got a lot of times music. And so we wanted to combine that all in on a gorgeous baseball stadium, who, by the way, will have 2 food-related jerseys and apparel up because every year they do an alter ego. So last year they were the Chicharrones, and I am stoked because I have one of their game used jerseys from last year and it says Chicharrones across it. And this year it's the Grits.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little bowl, little character with grits, and they're literally on their website. If you order any of their apparel, it has where they're doing a petition to make grits the state food of South Carolina.
Wow.
So it's going to be a blast of an event, and it's just going to be something a little different. We'll go through. We have CBA, the Champions Barbecue Alliance, and Fred Robles. His group is going to be who sanctions it, and we're going to cook the 4 meats, and we're just going to have a really, really good time. I think that's the epic focal point, is that everybody walks away going, man, I am so glad I was a part of this, however they were.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I mean, you get music, you get food, and you just have a good time. I want to go, and unfortunately, I've got an event that day, and it's in South Carolina or North Carolina, wherever it is, South Carolina. But where do they go to sign? Can they still get into that, or
No.
is it open entry, or is it?
Are you full?
If you reach out to me, and I'll give you my email address is mark@markconwaymedia.com. I still have some spots I can get people in on. Now we're going to have we'll close off at 24 teams. So the first 24 to sign up, that's it. But here's a cool thing about this particular event. Lang Smokers, and a lot of you are familiar with Lang Smokers. He is providing one of his rigs for every single team to use while they're there.
Wow.
So you can literally come and your rig is already there. You don't have to haul anything in, and it's the same rig that they've used on a couple of the Food Network shows. And so he's bringing 24 of them and lining the ballpark with them because they're actually cooking inside, not in the parking lot. You'll be on the outfield concourse cooking this barbecue competition. So I do have spots left, but I have a feeling they're going to start filling up really quick.
Oh, not to interrupt, but the first pick is in. The Chicago Bears pick Caleb Williams, quarterback from USC.
Nobody's surprised about that pick.
Nobody's surprised.
He wasn't on the Today Show this morning either.
Yeah, right. Nobody's surprised by that. Michelle, do you know how to do the banners on there? Can you see the?
No, I don't think I have that kind of hosting capability, but I did put it in the comments.
Oh,
I put Mark's email in the comments for those that need to get it to be able to sign up. I did put that there.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Mine's not working that well. So.
And also, if you go to the Facebook page or Instagram page, Southeastern Barbecue Showdown, the messages go in. I get them. So if all else fails from there, send me a message over on the social media pages. I get those, and I can get those applications out to you because it's going to be one heck of an event. It's also being completely filmed for television. We're going to form at least 2 full episodes that will go out on a series of networks afterwards. So it may be more episodes. It just depends on how much content we get, but it's at least 2 episodes for this particular show.
Now, does World Food have a connection with some kind of a shows that they would put more of the World Food competition itself on TV, or are they getting to that? Or because I think it would be a fun, kind of like Michael Simon does the Barbecue USA, where he files certain. I think that would be kind of a fun thing to. I like watching, especially people I know get all stressed out and trying to get things up to the front. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, when you talked about stretching before you do World Foods, for nobody that's ever, if you have not seen the red carpet that takes place in front of the main stage that connects the two kitchen arena sides, that is stress. I've been there for, I'm going on like 9 years now out of the 11. I have seen people throw their platter. Wow. I have seen people miss it completely because it's all about timing. It really, really is about timing.
Peter coming and running with his hat falling off.
Yep. And I mean, when I saw the person throw it and it made the table somehow, no idea how it did that. But, ever since we've had the new kind of company form, which is World Food Championships Holdings, which has, IMG involved and Endeavor involved, there's, of course, that natural correlation that they're going to look at television. So I can tell you that I see the horizon for that. We've already experimented with live streaming. We really kind of wanted to tinker with it at Final Table so that we knew what we'd want to do differently when it came to World Foods, because it's a much bigger event. I mean, you got 1,000 competitors competing for 5 days. So now we have live streaming kind of locked in and dialed in where we want to be. Television is definitely on the cusp when it comes to World Food Championships. If you follow any of my socials, which are basically Mark Conway Media, you're going to find some behind the scene things that are coming up. So,
not to mention those that win first place and go to Final Table, they're running for how much money now?
Yeah, Final Table's $150,000.
Wow.
Yeah, there's serious money on the table, and that's why the competitions, and you saw it, Michelle. The competitions are a lot harder now.
Yeah,
was my point. Is I wanted to build them more difficult, considering the level of money and talent that we have now.
Yeah. So the first place person in each category, which there was 11 this year, they go to Final Table, which is several months later, and it is similar to some more chop type level things on different levels, which I thought was amazing and kind of interesting and cool. The first round was a chop type thing. The second was a taste and recreate. And the third one was kind of the taste and recreate, but of museum form, which was cool and very artistic. But it's a shot at $150,000 for first place. And I'll be honest, we were taking bets with all the competitors that I hang out with and talk to on a regular basis on who was going to win it, who we thought who had it. And they were like, don't sleep on Bethany. And you know what? Don't sleep on Bethany, because that girl kicked butt and won $150,000. And she was a dessert champion, and she beat all other food. So she went through all the challenges, all the proteins, all the things, and she's a pastry chef.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, and I've said this a bunch of times, when it comes to World Foods, it's really about cooking against yourself.
Yep.
Making your best dish, putting your best effort out there, because everybody's going to do what they're going to do. You can't help what they're going to do. You can't change it. You can't do anything. It is about you competing against yourself, because at World Foods, you have to turn in your recipe ahead of time. So your execution score has everything to do with, did you execute your recipe? That's the biggest chunk of the score. So you think back to Orange Beach, Alabama, there's a guy who won burger 2 years in a row, made the same burger every single cook. And I'm talking a basic burger. And I talked to him about it. It was a burger with cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, ketchup, mustard. But he executed it flawlessly. Mm-hmm. So he didn't have to do anything different.
So you're pretty much being judged against what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
You have title, you have a description, and you have ingredients list. If the judges missed something that you said you were going to do, for example, Brandon just went inside so I can throw him under the bus. He went above and beyond this year at World Food in the seafood category, because he had seafood. The category was New Year's Eve gala. He went champagne bushes and caviar dreams. He wanted to do a deconstructed lobster ravioli with a champagne caviar noodle. The noodle did not set.
No.
So if your noodle doesn't set and you turn in your dish without a noodle, if it's in your description, what happens?
Yeah, you're toast. And I have seen some of the best in the game. Like, we coined this phrase food sport for a reason, because I've seen some of the best competitors in all of the world of food sport go down in flames because they went too over the top.
Yep. I did that.
I mean, you've got to be able to execute.
Yeah, I did that in soup. And that's why this year in live fire, when I switched to live fire, my comfort zone, I went a much more, I hate to say simple method, but it was simple steps executed perfectly in the right order, combined together, made a great dish.
And that's what it takes.
And that's where I got my perfect score on the prelim round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our next guest, James says, always make sure your noodles set.
Well, when it's champagne, it's legit champagne and champagne vinegar and caviar. You got to really make sure your agar works.
Yeah. I mean, you had a bunch of high-end competitors in the chef category this year, which was molecular gastronomy.
Yep.
And some of them tried to put too many gastronomy elements in play, and they didn't work.
Yep.
You were only required to put one.
Too. Molecular is the thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to bring in James for an overlap? Because James is at World Food, I believe, and Mark knows him, so we can talk some things together. And
there he is. James, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys?
What's up, James?
I was going to get a crick in my neck.
I'm trying to figure this thing out. I don't know if I should go vertical or horizontal. When I go horizontal, I have to look sideways. I'm on my phone.
Yeah, I know. It's just the way I get that too. That's why I'm always on this side, because otherwise it looks like I'm looking to the side all the time.
Are we good like this?
Right.
Are we good like this?
Yeah, you're fine.
No, you look good. You look good right there.
Either way.
It's the Saints logo, right? It's a draft night.
Yeah.
So tell us your experience with World Food and your thoughts, because you've been listening in the background. What do you think?
Oh, man. I wish there was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich category. I would like that one, and only peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. No, I've liked it. I've done it now. 3 times? I finaled all 3 times, and it's a challenge. I remember one time I had Joey Machado helping me out. And speaking of people like not him, but like speaking of other teams like throwing their dishes onto the table when it's some contest, if they see you in line, you're good, right? Because they're still checking boxes. You guys, that's why your table is, what is it, like 1,200 feet long? So you have room to drop the table off.
Yeah.
I mean, once your clock stops when your food hits the table, right? So I want to say I did what did I do? I did some, I know I had a crawfish corn mock shoe with a corn silk sabayon sauce and something else. Anyway, we got to the point where we're running, and I had a platter, Joey had a platter. And when I tell you there's a picture that one of y'all's photographers got, and I really have like the dish of the corn mock shoe, hot as hell, resting up against my forearm as I'm laying it down, the clock's done. So you can't fix it, right? Once it's down, it's down. So I had to kind of strategically kind of lift my arm up and curve it at the same time to fix it, because I was just releasing my arm. And you want to talk about like, I mean, I was done, and I finaled, but I want to say the execution side of things is kind of maybe got me. And that was the thing, because corn silk sabayon is a kind of a high-end sauce. It's a chef type sauce, and look, I'm a barbecue guy, so I figured let me reach a little bit. Well, traditionally you actually make it from the corn silk and everything. Well, I've tried going around that a little bit, trying to simplify it, and that might have got me in, because the guy walking around was like, "So you're making corn silk sabayon, right?" I said, "Yeah." I mean, I was making the Dollar Tree version, and and it worked for. I mean, it still tasted really good, right? I mean, corn out of a can is still corn, right? So, yeah. So yeah, but World Food, I loved it. It's a good time.
It's a different thing.
I didn't go this year. I had some other plans this year. I qualified again to go, but I just couldn't make it this year. I just had so much going on. And then for the previous few years, just making finals. And then they introduced a new format 2 years ago, where you're in front of a panel, and you had to explain your dish. It was like an interview process, and it kind of reminded me of when I do presentations at Memphis in May. And I want to say, did y'all pick us in order of the way we came in points wise, or was it random? I don't remember.
No, it comes in by points.
I thought it was where you turned in.
Oh, no, it's turned in. It's how you turned in. Yeah, it's how you turned in.
Okay. So you're sitting there, and you want to talk about and I'm a high pressure kind of person. Although this phone is not high pressure, it's jumping all around on me. Um, and I'm sitting there, and you don't realize, outside of doing like Barbecue Brawl and Food Network, where you got you know 1,000,003 people watching you, this right here is kind of nerve wracking. You're like, all right, there's one more person in front of me. What am I going to say? Because I didn't go to a script, and I'm going to talk about what I was cooking. And you got some of your mentors and peers up on stage, and you're telling them how you're cooking and stuff like that. And you explaining your dish to these guys, and it's one of those things where it's like I went into it with a plan, but once I got up there, I became the Charlie Brown teacher, and I think I still got the point across. But I probably could have cleaned it up a little bit. Maybe recommend. Can we send all the script and y'all have it play behind the judges, and the judges don't see it? We're just reading it like a digital cue card.
You're gonna take all the fun out of it.
We could submit it in advance with our recipes.
Hey, you're not getting any sympathy out of me. I stand up there all week with nothing.
Well,
I have no script, no words, no nothing. I'm gonna make up stuff for 7 days.
You just need a BS training class. That's all you need.
That's exactly right.
I got a master's in that. But Mark, you look good up there doing it though. I mean, with the socks and the jackets and everything. We're fresh off. We're fresh off of putting out. Yeah, we're fresh off of putting out fires, and you're up there with who knows what you threw together that day.
Yeah, that's how we do it. What I threw together that day. But I'll tell you this: I'll give you a tidbit. I get asked this question a lot about presenting, because that's pretty much what I do for a living is talk and present things. I took one class that I took that has changed the way that I actually present. I took a voiceover academy class at a place called Studio Center, which is a production house studio. They make commercials and TVs and things like that. Well, I took a voiceover class. And what that voiceover class does is it teaches you how to use your tones and your inflection. It teaches you especially how to hold that pause, which that allows you to be able to present that dish. And the pause, yes, you do for emphasis, but two, it lets you collect your thought without saying or like or like. And that's the biggest thing is when you are going to present that dish up in front of the judges, just conversational. Keep it light, keep it conversational. Don't trip yourself up with long terms, because the chances are the judge up there knows exactly what that technique is. And if they don't taste every instance of that technique, don't use the word. Like, just throw it out. But I think that's what I see a lot of competitors trip up over, is just trying to put this eloquent thing out there, or tell this glorious story. Man, just talk to the judges about your food, because that's what they connect to, is your passion about your food. And
Mark,
you'll do fine.
it sounds like you're trying to get rid of my extensive eloquency.
It sounds like you need to take that advice from Memphis in May. Maybe you'll GC it this year.
So actually, well, here's the deal. It was funny. You bring up a good point though. Speaking of Memphis, man, I know that's on list of topics tonight, but since we're talking about presentations, that's actually a big part of presentation at Memphis May. And back in 2018, I finished 12th in ribs, and I had a super judge come up to me after, and he said, "James," he said, "you have one of the best ribs I've ever had at Memphis May." He said, "Clean up your presentation," and he said, "You'll continuously walk the stage." And my initial thought was, I was like, I mean, we were pretty clean, and we swept up and everything. And he said, no, he said, work with Mark Lambert. So Mark's one of my mentors. He's a guy that I've respected for years. So I went to Mark and I called him and said, hey man, can you help me work on a presentation? He said, yeah, come up a few weeks before Memphis in 2019. And so I went up there, spent 2 days with him. I only cooked 3 racks of ribs while I was there, because it wasn't about cooking, it was about putting together a presentation. And we went back and forth at his shop. And at present, in Memphis May, you have different people have different positions during the presentation. It's a bunch of wheels moving around. You have a time grader, a door you have a door geek, a grader and timekeeper. You have the head cook, you have a couple of assistants and all this stuff, right? Everybody has a title. It got to the point where he wanted me to learn everybody's position. So he has a door going from his office area to his warehouse, and that was the front of the booth. So I had to act like the greeter. So I would open the door, and he actually brought a few judges there to kind of play along. Dude, when I tell you, I would open this door up. I'm like, hey, welcome to Blessed City Smokers Up. Click. I said, hey, open up. Hey, welcome. Click. I hung up the door on this guy at least 10 times in a row. I was like, I couldn't even get welcome to Bluff City Smokers. I am such and such. And I'm about to introduce you to our team, our head pit master, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't even get through that. In 2 days, I couldn't get through one whole presentation. I left there, a 6-hour drive back. I couldn't even get through one. Mark went ahead and did a presentation for me. He said, James, he said, look, I'm going to present your ribs. I even have a video, an audio record of him the entire time. We kept getting through, even the guys that sit across from these judges. I couldn't get through. I couldn't get out of my own way. I just kept, stumbling through. And I was like, well, this is how I cook ribs. Well, I'm like, nah, that's not what I do. Can't mess it up. A few weeks later, I was like, I'm just going to bomb. I'm going to cook a good rib, and I'm going to bomb a presentation. So I have an extensive book, like all my notes, probably 10 pages of just notes from this class. And we're driving in, and one of the guys that's on my team was driving. All of a sudden, I'm reading my notes, and I closed the book. I was like, dude, I've got it. He looks at me and goes, what do you mean I got it? I said, dude, I've got it. I'm trying to remember everything that Mark was saying. Instead, Mark was trying to teach me a lesson here. Be yourself. Just remember some key talking points. Remember some key bullet points. Because the idea with a presentation in Memphis in May is these people are in your living room. You welcome them. It's like I'm welcoming any one of you guys into my living room. Like, dude, it's your remote. What do you want the air set on? And let's talk about these ribs I just cooked for you. And that's it. So many people fall victim at Memphis in May to, they're trying to sell the judges a 10 because you're trying to earn a 10 overall versus earning a 10. Okay. And I've taught myself that I never want to sell a judge a 10. I want to earn the 10. And how do I earn the 10 is be myself and cook the best ribs in the world. And that's my whole point of going into this. Yeah, you're right. You still have to understand how to talk, how to get words out without stumbling, right?
Yep.
At the same time, in that format, just be yourself. I mean, don't be too relaxed where, whatever, put whatever you want on, eat the ribs, and let me know when you're done. You still have to walk. You still have to be very technical. You still have to know what you're talking about because these guys are all trained. They've had the best ribs in the world. They've had the best barbecue in the world, and they know if you're going to BS them on your techniques or anything you're telling them. They know that already. So I've got to the point where I've telling these judges when they're tasting my rub, I'm telling them what they're tasting as it's hitting different parts of their tongue and their palate, and it kind of blows them away a little bit because I know my rubs pretty well. But yeah, you're right though. I mean, look, you've got to. In these type of things, you've got to be smooth, but at the same time, if you're too polished and too over the top, the BS meter kind of can go up a little bit, especially if you can't nail your facts. If you don't know what you're talking about, and you try to sugarcoat it with, like you said, with bigger words than you don't normally speak, you're gonna bomb. You're not gonna do well. And and as much as I respect the military, when Sterling won the other year, I didn't have that story to tell those judges with Tuffy up there. And it was on what? It was on what holiday was it? Was it Veterans Day?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, because World Food Tends
I didn't have a shot. So
well, speaking of World Food, I know Mark's got to step out. He's got to go take care of some family business and that and the other. We're going to jump into more James Cruse land and Memphis in May that doesn't affect Mark. So I want to, Mark, any last words before you have to step out?
Guys, it's been a blast. Thanks for having me on. And you can always follow more about the event at the Southeastern Barbecue Showdown. So thanks, guys.
Speaking of,
thanks for coming on, Mark.
Thank you for coming on, Mark. It was very enlightening.
We'll chat.
You got it.
We'll chat about Chicago. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
If I can get him out of
there. There we go.
All right, now he's out.
That
was nice of Mark. He stayed a little bit longer than he was going to do. That was nice of him.
So Steve, you're in the Chicago area?
Yes, sir.
All right, I've got 3 words for you, and chocolate cake shake.
Chocolate cake shake.
You're not really from Chicago.
Is that from Portillo's?
Portillo's chocolate cake shake, the best shake I've ever had in my entire life.
I'm trying to stay away from sugar. I'm more of an ice cream man than
cake. There's ice cream in it, Steve. That's how they make shakes.
Tyler knows it's Portillo's. I usually when I go to Portillo's, it's just a straight chocolate cake, so I don't get to the shake too much. It's usually a vanilla shake, or I do have the plain old chocolate cake. But Portillo's is one of my favorite places to eat in the world. I can't say that
Yeah,
it's not.
I'll be in Chicago twice, 2 more times this year. I think summertime for Windy City Smokeout.
Oh, are you coming up
And-
for Windy City?
Mhm.
Oh, I'll be
And
there.
then
I might be with. I might be cooking with. Tim over at Blues Hog.
I'll be a guest, kind of just shaking some hands. Next year, I think the plan is for me to be one of the pitmasters there, one of the featured pitmaster guys.
That's right.
And then I'm coming back up for the A show in I think August.
August,
Oh.
yeah, it's in August.
I'll see you. I'll see you for that too, because I'm going to be there for. I'm going to go to that as well.
James, talk to us about Stockyard Landing. What you got going on there?
All right, so Stockyard Landing is my line of barbecue rubs. I've been in business now a little over a year. As far as Stockyard Landing, though, the name where it came from, it's obviously I got the little logo up there. There's some animals on there. Interesting story behind that logo as well. Which I'm not an artist, but I had some say into that design with some tracing paper. But anyway, I'm from Araby, Louisiana, and Araby is a very small community right outside of New Orleans. In fact, my house, I live the very last street in St. Bernard Parish. We have parishes in Louisiana. We don't have counties. And Orleans Parish, where New Orleans is the next street over. So I can really throw a golf ball hit New Orleans. So Stockyard Landing is Araby's first settled name, or it's called Araby. It was a lot of history in a 2x2 square mile area. It was home of all these stockyards where they process everything throughout Louisiana. In fact, when they shut it down, it is what we now know in DC as a monopoly. That was the last bit of information that DC needed to write the legislature for a monopoly in little old Araby, Louisiana. And on top of that, 2 more things. Araby is also home of the original Popeyes, the first ever Popeyes.
Nice.
I used to go there as a kid, a block and a half from my house. And if any of my local people are watching, they're gonna hate me, but y'all are gonna hate me after. It's home of the crawfish, the one crawfish.
The singular crawfish?
This singular crawfish. So what I'm going to do here is when I tell you the singular crawfish, because when I did an interview at USA Today one time, and I told a guy that, he said, wait, so all the crawfish you guys eat down there? I said, no, just the one. I said, the one crawfish they caught in Araby. He said, wait a second. I said, go to YouTube and look up Benny Grunch and the Bunch, the 12 Yats of Christmas.
Yeah.
So day one is the crawfish they caught in Araby. So we're there for the one. Don't play that song. Look, it's a terrible.
I'm not gonna Google it.
It's a terrible song for like the 80s, maybe late 70s. I don't know when it was. We hear it all the time during Christmas. It's an annoying song, but yeah. Anyway, that's a little history about Araby. But Stockyard Landing, to honor, I'm proudly from Araby, and I honor that where I live by owning a company called Stockyard Landing. And what it is, I've got 3 barbecue rubs. I got a 4th one that I'm still taking around with, and then I'll have like 5 sauces later on. It's 3 rubs that I use. Any contest you ever see me at, it's what I use. I'm not going to fake it. I'm not going to tell you, hey, I'm using Chop House on my brisket. Then you come over there and I'm using somebody else's commercial product. No, I use my own stuff. And I did that, and I designed my recipes around using my own stuff. Now, I haven't changed my ribs in 10 years, but I've also been making all-round and Grand Champ for 13 to 14 years. Okay? So I've always used it. Chop House, I came out with that about 3 years ago. But Chop House seems to be the one that has exploded. It's taken. I'm in stores all over the country, and Chop House seems to be the one that's more versatile, because when you talk about the barbecue rub business, you won't make, in reality, we're in business to make money, right? You won't make money off of competition people. It is what it is. They either want it free, or they're going to buy a shake and it's going to last them 3 months. Mm-hmm. You want to go after the people who are using it at home. So my Chop House, it's starting to replace people's salt and pepper on their counter. It's not just salt, pepper, garlic. I went a little further because I'm from the New Orleans area. We always cook with the Trinity, and the Holy Trinity has garlic in it. So I've got salt, pepper, garlic, onion, bell pepper, celery, and a few other ingredients in there. So it's well-rounded, but it's one of the things. Another thing too about my 3 rubs, they're not completely high in sodium either, but they're not low sodium as well. Meaning you can go heavy with my rubs. And if you ever watch me rub like my ribs, my shoulder, my whole hog, brisket, I go heavy. Because I'm not afraid that it's gonna be oversalted. And I didn't do that to try to sell more product. I did it because I want people to achieve as much flavor as possible and not be scared of it, you know?
Right.
So that's one of the things with that. And it's the exact rubs that I use. One second, let's get a little louder around here. That's the exact rubs that I use at Memphis and May, at World Food, at the Royal, the Jack, everywhere. And I tell people exactly how I use them too. You know, I don't hide that either. I mean, and look, for anyone watching right now, I've said, look, I made a name for myself in ribs. All round goes on the night before, Grand Champ goes on the next day, and they hit the smoker. That's exactly what I do in there. In fact, we'll have on Fridays at Memphis and May, we'll have probably 30 people around while I'm trimming and rubbing ribs. And I'm like, dude, you think I'm gonna fake it at the World Championship? You know,
Right.
Because I don't
Right.
want you watching me. No, I'm gonna. I'm doing what I do, and I use the same exact rub sequence on rib, shoulder, and whole hog. It's the exact same thing. So yeah, it's been good. I mean, look, there's been a little bumps here and there in the business because it's a learning curve. But here's the crazy part about it. You would think I have an advantage over most everybody else in the rub business because I also sales manager for the co-packer. So most people don't know that. I work for Deep South Blenders in New Orleans. We're a high volume, very high quality co-packer that's 52 years old, family run, 3 food scientists, well-known R&D chef. We're doing some of the biggest names in food social media with all their products. So you would think, James, you should be on top of this all the time because you're a customer of the company you work for. But I put my customers first before me all the time. I mean, at the same time, I'm talking about my Deep South customers, but at the same time, I have stock your Atlantic customers. Like, all right, James, we need some product here. But no, everything's been good, man. It's been fun. It's opened up some doors. It's been, you know, it's been a learning experience and it's growing. I've got people now all over the country telling me that, you know, they're using my stuff on things that I've never even thought of using it on, you know. And then another thing too is when I came up with these 3 flavors, I'm never going to come out with some crazy flavor. By the way, y'all hear any background noise? We're good on sound?
No, you're good.
You're fine. We can still hear you.
Because I'm at my friend's sports bar. Because after I'm done with this, I got to hop on a Saints Draft live podcast as well, talk about food and football and barbecue. So anyway,
They go together. They go together. Football and barbecue.
So with that being said, I designed my rubs to not be one-trick ponies, to not be, hey, this is, you know, you got to use this season here. It's called a maple strawberry habanero roasted pecan dingleberry rib rub, you know, that, and you know what I'm talking. There's people out there that have 3 or 4 names and they're stuff like, dude, what am I going to use that on? Wings, maybe it's a wing season at this point. Mine are like the all round. It's an all-purpose barbecue rub. And what I came up with that is ever since White Lightning came out, everybody's been like, oh, white rubs are all-purpose barbecue seasoning rubs, and they're not. They're a seasoning. You got to go back to the old way of thinking, where an all-purpose barbecue rub is a red rub that you could put on. You could feel comfortable putting on anything. So that's what all-round is. In fact, when I'm competing, it's on every one of my categories, and whether it be the main component or maybe it's just the base or an add-on, but it's in every one of them. Chop House. That one is, I didn't go super fine either on that because my target's not the SCA. You know, there's a lot of SCA guys using it, and all they're doing is just grinding it. But I want it in the regular people's hands. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna be that company that's gonna be like, hey, I've got the next best competition steak season out there. Nope, grind it if you want to. You know, and you can use it that way. I want the regular people because us barbecue people and steak cooks, we make up like maybe 1% of the market. You know, the competition people. I want restaurants using the food service. That's
Yep.
where you're really gonna sell some product.
Yep.
And that's my plan. And at the same time,
Caterers.
yes, and at the same time,
Right.
just like my Memphis and Made presentation, I preach balance. So all three of mine are very balanced across the board. You're never gonna taste one of like, man, that thing really can use some salt, or man, that thing is so hot, I can't taste it. Well, I don't want to do that. If I want to add heat, I'll add external heat. So, and that's just how I've been across the board in all of it. I want these things to be barbecue rubs, not. I don't want them to just completely change the flavor of the meat. That's not my intent.
Thank you, John Man, for the no dingleberry comment.
Who's that? I gotta see
John
this now.
Man.
John, man, no dingleberries, because that was part of the recipe of some of the rubs you were
Yep.
saying were dingleberries.
SCA Santa Claus.
And then he was also saying that's why our attendance today might be a little lower, as everybody can tell. James is watching the draft. Michelle's
I'm
watching the draft. He's watching the draft. He's trying to flip between the two. So
No, I'm flipping through the comments because I'm on this website thing, but there's an option down there where I figured out you hit more, comments pull up, and I can read them.
Yeah, right.
Does my camera go away when I open up the comments?
All right, the
No.
giant selection's coming in.
The Giant selections are coming. I'm personally. I was telling Michelle this before the thing started. I went to high school with
Malik Neighbors.
I never heard of him. I went to high school with.
Wait, time out, Steve. You never heard of Malik Neighbors?
Yeah, that's LSU.
Go Tigers, Steve. Go Tigers. Okay, go ahead. Who did you go to high school with?
I went to high school with JJ McCarthy's dad. So everybody over here, obviously in the Chicago area, we're excited to see where JJ McCarthy lands because he's actually a really good, well balanced kid, which is kind of really cool.
For your case, James, Malik Neighbors went to the Giants.
And that's where he was projected. Did Daniels go to Washington?
Yep.
Brandon said yes.
Okay. I don't like that for him. I don't like that for him, but it is.
I was hoping the Bears would take McCarthy because I think he's.
No,
but they would have had.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to go number one. They would have had to take him 9, and they were going
I know.
quarterback number 1. But so, at the end of the day, so that's kind of the thing with Stockyard Land, and it's more personal to me because it's named after where I'm from. It kind of tells a story of who I am. I'm very even keel, very balanced kind of a person. I go from flipping the switch to being very, very disciplined, very businesslike, to being the ultimate dad joke teller and prankster. That's where Stockyard Land is. It runs the gamut of across the board, and it's one of those things where I've always said I feel confident. You throw it in your pantry, you're gonna cook some good food with it. Whether it be regular food or you're gonna cook some good barbecue. Other than that, man, that's about it. As far as I'm in the bulk spice and season business every day of my life. I travel around a pretty good bit, and then hold on, ESPN is trying to interrupt us talking here. So
It's a big night.
Yeah, I mean, look, we got Memphis coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'm excited about that.
So you're pretty much then your game face from like the day before the Memphis and May competition to the morning of. There's a huge difference between James cooking and James not cooking.
Yep. So I'll tell you, Steve, have you been to Memphis in May?
I have not. Unfortunately, I've said it many times. It's the busiest time at the garden center, so I can't get away. It's my busiest time actually selling barbecue stuff, so I can't get away. It's what I've been trying for years, trying to figure out how I can make that happen, and it's just not going to happen because it's on my barbecue bucket list is to go to Memphis.
So I'll drive up on Tuesday the 14th that morning. I'll drop my son off we're going early.
Yeah.
I'll drop my son off at school on Tuesday morning, then I head out of town. And I don't come back until Sunday, the 19th. Tuesday, we're just kind of loading in. Wednesday is Friends and Family Day. It's much lighter there.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday is kind of a big party. So I'm the captain and head cook of Bluff City Smokers. And for people that don't know, it's kind of like in New Orleans, like Chicago. It's the Windy City, right? New Orleans is the Big Easy. Well, Memphis is called Bluff City.
Mm-hmm.
So we're called Bluff City Smokers. And it was a notorious party team before I took over. And Michelle will tell you that. And then I took it over in 2018. I brought one other guy with me, and we were basically walking through our frat house Saturday morning going to put ribs on the smoker. And when we finished 12th, I was like, all right, we got to take these guys serious. And then since then, a final 3 times. My lowest finish was 14th last year. I hit a bad table. And like, I'm a history guy, and I'm a very competitive, very motivated guy. So I want to look at whatever other known teams done in the history of Memphis in May, and I want to know that. I've got a notebook with what everybody's done. There's people I'm chasing. So I became Louisiana's first ever, and actually still only barbecue world champion at Memphis in May. And in 5 years, we've been 12th, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, and 14th. So it's a 5-year run of being top 14 in the world.
For ribs, that's good.
Yeah, and in fact, I think we're the only rib team. We're the only rib team to ever do that. Top 14, 5 straight years. We're one of only 2 rib teams to ever final 3 straight years. And we're one of only 4. We're one of only 4 barbecue teams ever to final 3 straight years. And then we're also, there's one other significant one too. I was trying. If I would have won it last year or final last year, would have been the only team to ever final. Second team to only ever final 4 straight years. But it didn't happen. So our plan is this year to do it. And we went from, we're still a part. Like, there's a big chunk of the team is still a big part of the team. And it's, if you're going to have fun in Memphis, you're going to go to. We're one of 5 booths you're going to go check out. But on Saturday morning, I think by now we've earned a reputation of being a legitimate threat to win the whole thing, even as a rib team. And we're a very serious threat to win ribs every year. And I don't do that. I don't even want to say okay? It's we. We don't do that because I have a team that is, I'll put it up against any team, any category. Charles Dabbs is my right-hand guy. He's like a brother to me. Michelle knows him. He's a hell of a steak cook as well, but he's a captain along with me. And he's a guy that Michelle has been around us before, and she sees how me and him work together. And you can put us two, the way we work together as a team, not just throw the accomplishments out the window, but just the way we work together. And you could put us against any other duo out there with the way we work together. We don't have to talk, whether it be whole hog or ribs, and we know what each other's doing at all times. And that's something that you can't just find that guy off the street, Then we have Larry Canada, who's my Mark Lambert labeled him the squirrel wrangler, when it comes to presentations. He's the retired attorney from that Elephant School in Alabama. Not even gonna say the name of that school to give them any kind of credit at all, but he's a great guy. He might be the best thing that's ever come out of the University of Alabama. I just said the name. So he's a squirrel wrangler. Then we got a couple other guys this year coming up with us. Josh Michelli, he's only been cooking barbecue for a year and a half, and the name of his team is Italians Do It Better Barbecue. But what he does is he reminds me of a younger version of me, even though actually I think he's a year older than me. But when I say young, I mean like in the competition game. This is my 18th year. This is his second. He reminds me of a younger version of me that's an absolute sponge, and to this day, I'm 27 years in and barbecue for, competing for 18, I'm still a student. And I feel like long term, he's going to be the same way. He's always going to be a student, always going to try to get better. And then we have Rob Fleming, who's another really good SCA cook and really good barbecue guy. He actually owns Bama Barbecue Supply. I'm not going to hold that name against him because he's a really good guy first, but he's also he's another Gump fan. But dude, that's the, and then we have Leslie Dabbs, Charles's wife. She's kind of a glue for us as well. She does a lot of little things that go on.
It's hilarious.
A lot of little things that go unnoticed in the barbecue world, but we notice it as a teammate. And then Brandy has come with Josh. She's really talented on the garden side of things. And then we have our core group that's already up there. Our logistics people, really led by Tim and Travis and then Whitney and Elizabeth. So all of that to kind of go back, and I want to bring up Whitney and Elizabeth for you real quick. So they're our shoppers going in, because once I get up there, I don't have time to run the Sam's and all that stuff. They do everything for us. They're booth design, booth layout, presentation, all that kind of stuff. So Whitney, she's a school teacher, and she's the main guy's fiance up there. So I kind of like to have a little fun maybe on Thursday nights. And Michelle knows that once Saturday comes around, I am a completely different person. I'm about as straight laced as
Don't
possible.
talk to James on Saturday.
Yeah,
I'm on a mission.
don't talk to James on Saturday. Yeah.
So Whitney was like, I was a little thirsty last Thursday, the Thursday night of last year, and she's like, "This is the James we hope to get at least 300 days of the week." And she's like, she did one of those little Snapchat things, and it makes you look like a cartoon to begin with. And she's like on on Saturdays we have world champion pitmaster James Cruse, but on Thursdays we have Jet. And I'm like, "Wait, what?" So they gave me the nickname of Jet because my name's James and Jet. And because she said you go from here and you're like, you take off. And I'm like, had a little fun. Look, it's a good time, but that's all part of the life of Memphis and Meg.
So what I'm hearing, Steve, is you need to come in for Thursday night and then fly home early Friday morning to do the shop and experience Jet Cruise.
Yeah, Jet's a good time.
And do the show from James's food.
Oh, we have a second floor overlooking the entire field, so you can come do it up there.
I'll see. I got to figure out how to do it. This year, unfortunately, is not the year to do it. I got a lot of things going on. I'm getting ready next week. I'm going to South Carolina. I would say South Carolina. It's actually North Carolina. So next week I got to go to North Carolina. I got a graduation. My oldest is graduating, so I got to go to that. And then I got a vacation towards the end of the month. So maybe next year I'm gonna try. This year's goal is to try to make it to the Royal. That's the goal for this year. So.
All right. So next year, plan to swoop in, do a Thursday night show, and then swoop home and have a party.
Wednesday, Thursday. The goal was always to get there Wednesday, stay for Thursday, and then leave before the competition starts, and then be there for the fun days. But which I'm thinking may work because this way I can be back in time for the store to be busy on the weekend. That I can be back for the. The only thing is I don't fly, but it's not that far of a drive, so it wouldn't be that.
You could take a train and sleep.
I could take the train. Somebody told me to take the train, but before they when it was on the lakefront, the riverfront there, I don't know how far away it is from the train station. He said it was really close.
It's 20 minutes.
Take an Uber.
Yeah, the train station to the new venue is only 20 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. I could take the Amtrak, right? Pick it up in the Chicago there and just take it right down, and I don't have to. Though driving still might be quicker. I don't know.
We are now an hour 2 minutes in. I still haven't figured out this camera angle yet. I feel like I'm sideways the entire time because it's backwards and.
Yeah, trust me on it. I know the. Well, we're just about done anyway. I'll let you get going to your ESPN. Get back to the draft and your Saints show and I do like the Saints. I've always had a place in my heart for the Saints. I don't know why. Maybe because they got the same luck as the Bears. I don't no idea, but
yeah. And then also you guys knocked us out of the NFC Championship in 2006.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I do.
I would have rather seen the Saints go. The Saints probably would have stood a better chance of beating the Colts back then. The Saints probably would have done a better job at it.
Yeah, who knows? Man, anyway. It's been a lot of fun. And Steve, apparently, I need to talk to you about some stock you're landing. Now, I don't know if I don't know if I sold you enough on them yet, but I mean, they need to be up there in Chicago because the chop house would be really good on some Italian beef.
Oh yeah, now
probably would be. Yeah,
I don't know about a chocolate cake shake, but Italian beef might be really good.
Italian beef, yeah. No, I'll definitely. I think we friended on Facebook and this and that or whatever. I'll message you or whatever. I'll get your number from Michelle or whatever, and I'll give you my work email address, and you can shoot me all the pricing and all that other stuff, and we'll see what we can get it, how we can get it to work somehow.
Yeah.
So
we'll put it on a.
All right, buddy. Yep. All right. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the draft. And see you.
We'll see you in a few weeks. There's Brandon over there somewhere.
All right, Michelle. I'll see you soon. Steve, I'll be at
the painkillers.
Appreciate it.
Right. See you, James. Another great show. Went by fast. I'm kind of excited that both were great guys. Mark was actually.
The lack of conversation was not going to be there with them too.
If Mark was a great guy. I got to get in touch with him. I don't know if I'm on Facebook thing or whatever, but if not, I can get the number from you or whatever. But you
yeah,
can
I don't
pass
have his
along
phone number.
my-
I communicate him through Facebook chat.
Do you? Okay, I'll have to look it up and see. I don't know. I know you. I know James, and then I think I think I sent it to him to friend or whatever. But who knows? But yeah, that'd be cool if he come into the city. That'd be kind of neat to.
Well, shoot, I learned a lot about Mark today. Things I didn't know. That was a lot of good
And
information.
And that competition sounds absolutely.
Yeah, he wanted us to come. We just can't swing it. It's the weekend before my ladies' contest. I got to get us ready logistically wise here. So, and it's also my birthday.
So
and Father's Day. So
and Father's Day weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
So and I got my event. So, but it sounds like a cool event. That might be another one I might.
It's a lot of good money involved there, and like I said, it's on the baseball field. You can't beat that. And shoot, South Carolina.
We might go to the second annual.
He said we might go to the second annual. Is what Brandon said. We just couldn't make it work this year.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep in touch. Maybe if you guys are going, maybe I'll try and swing that one too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We'll see how that works out.
No, I'm glad the dialogue worked out well. There was definitely not a dull moment today.
Right. All right, Michelle. Thank you as always. Brandon, he'll get hopefully the oral surgery swelling.
He's like, yes.
It's going away. We're getting better.
He must have took a pain pill.
Pick pain pill or he's drinking a lot. One of the two.
He's not drinking. He's worried
No,
about the dry.
really?
He's worried about the dry sockets.
Oh, I don't know. I got a tooth thing going on too, and it must be the season for the dentist. Must be their time for making money or something. Because I got.
He's
something
been
going
fighting
on.
this one since January. He's just finally got it handled.
Yeah, no, I got the same.
He just needs to heal before Memphis in May, so he can talk on a microphone for 6 hours straight.
Oh boy. So
Yeah.
all right, guys.
Well, who you
next
got
week,
next week?
Next week we have next week we'll be cooking with Sunny. So we'll have cooking with Sunny. No competition this time because she's all over the place. Now I know this week
she was trying to get me to go with her this past week or this week actually to Kansas, and I just couldn't make it work. So
yeah, I think
one of these days we need to get us together and do that.
I saw the Camp OBR and I saw this and I saw that. So yeah, she's busy. I'm trying to get her trying to work things out for June and venues for her to do classes at and this and that. And so yeah, she said she's really super busy. So we'll see what happens.
It's the season. It is slow down when it's hot.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So all right, guys, good to see you again. Thank you again for co-hosting. It's always nice to have you as the co-host.
Thank you.
Nice little break from Ryan. You know,
Don't tell him that. That's me.
I didn't have to watch the like arm thing going on. Like,
does he stretch a lot?
No, he's got I don't know if you've seen it in some of the shows. He's got a pinched nerve in his neck. So it shoots when he's doing that. The pain's shooting down his arm. So he's trying to. I feel sorry for him. Yeah, I feel sorry for him a little bit, but I still like to pick on him about it. But
tell him there's nerve blocks for that.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. So, all right, guys. So next week we will have Sunny. Will be here doing cooking with Sunny. Ryan will be back. Michelle may be in the audience.
I'll probably be watching.
She might be razzing Sunny on this and that. But yeah, we do have to get the Michelle and Sunny battle. We'll figure that out, and then
that's gonna be fun. We just need to get us in the same city so we can do it, even if we're on like the same Zoom or something.
Yeah. Why? Well, yeah. How far?
We're not 3 hours.
Not 3 hours. Maybe somewhere in the middle. We'll have to figure out a week where you guys can meet in the middle, or at your venue.
I'm pretty sure I can talk Brandon a Nashville trip or try to get her here.
Yeah, you look like you got a new venue. Now, I know she's got a new deck and everything because she did move and she's in a different house and everything.
Yeah, but once I open the pool, I think I can get her and the girls here.
Oh yeah, that would be make a weekend out of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So anyway. All right, guys, we will see you next week. And as always, be kind and courteous to everybody and be nice. It's getting warmer out and everybody's getting busy. Everybody wants to do stuff, and just be kind and happy and just enjoy that we're alive, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Buy some of these rubs we've been talking about. Cook some grilling outside. If you need help, ask us on Facebook.
Yep. Shop local, shop small. And hey, as always, follow. I should start with all this stuff, but I don't because it's at the end when nobody's really watching. But follow. It's all about the barbecue. Follow Barbecue Blackstone and Beer. The more you follow, the more the group grows and all that other good stuff, and we get a bigger family. So
and more tips and ideas.
More tips and ideas. So with that, we're out. Bye everybody.
Have a good night.
I gotta actually stop the.